versuche nochmal Dings zu bekommen. Why won't you give me? Please give a quality. Brrr. Don't want to give quality. Mano! Okay, ich glaube, irgendwie ist das Licht ein bisschen dunkel. Moment. Es läuft wieder alles supi, habe ich gehört. Hallo. Okay, Control Center, ich habe kein Licht. Gut, dann Licht bleibt so. Gato, fix your shit. Hallo? Ja. Okay. Ey, Internet ist heute mega krass gut. Ist dann wenigstens der Sound okay? Nee, scheiße. Stört alle nur ein. Ah! Stop dying! Ist jetzt okay? Es ist okay. Ich glaube, es ist okay. Hallo Seppo. Hallo Bayern. Hallo Taris. Na, es geht. Das knet. Du kannst nichts hören. Ah. Ja. Ich würde gerne das Licht heller machen. Aber ich darf nicht. Internet, stop dying! Holy shit. Was kann ich noch machen? Ich kann noch Sachen schließen, die scheiße sind, die niemand will. Was will denn niemand? Da. Vanguard. Vanguard interessiert kein... Bayern! Danke für 9 Monate. Guck mal, jetzt bist du auch eine Materie. Was haben wir gesagt? 6? 7? 6? Ich habe keine Ahnung. 5. 6. 6. Right? I don't know. Kann ich mehr Sachen schließen, die irgendwie Internet brauchen? Hallo. Kann ich Dinge schließen? Was kann ich noch schließen? Da. Keine Ahnung. Ich versuche gerade alles zu schließen, was irgendwie Internet brauchen könnte. In der Hoffnung, dass es dann vielleicht stabiler. Ja, Elgato, nee, jetzt nicht. Hallo. Elgato, stop it. Wenn doch nur die Helligkeit von den blöden Lichter passen. Okay, da. Warte, Moment. Ich will es auf 10 haben. Hallo! Hallo, Windows. Ja. Ne, das wäre eigentlich Elgato, der über Windows mir Bescheid geben musste, dass Dinge. So. Jetzt aber. So, jetzt Frage. Sound ist okay. Sound ist okay. Ich glaube, ich kann es für mich noch lauter machen. Ich mache das mal eben für mich noch mal kurz ein Stückchen lauter. So. Okay. Hallo, Button. So, wir sind beim letzten Fall. Also, basically, wir haben die Hälfte des Spieles. Wenn man Ace Attorney kennt, ne? The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story. Oh. Bester Fall oder längster Fall? Both. The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Ich habe das Gefühl, Hunde kommen vor. Werden Hunde vorkommen? Ich sag Bescheid, wenn es zu sehr fandroppt.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us.
Dog!
A hound it was.
What?
But not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. Look well, Wilson, Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles.
Diabolical? Okay. Dankeschön für 7 Monate. Yay! Ich muss mal das Bonk fertig zeichnen. Ah, scheiße. Jetzt geht die Party ab. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. Ja, 20 plötzlich. Okay, erst machen wir alle 3 Tage und dann plötzlich, jo, ist es 2 Monate später. Ah, nee, der ist nicht absichtlich falsch. Hat es wieder nicht abgedatet. Oh, ich liebe das. Finde ich herrlich. Ich liebe das, wenn es nicht richtig updatet. Ah! Okay, warte. Ich weiß nicht mal. Ich bin heute mega verpeilt. Und das ist so wichtig. Ja, ich zeichne gerade. Hat sie das Ding nicht richtig angenommen? Okay, manchmal passiert es, dass das OBS nicht richtig aktualisieren will. Fragezeichen. Irgendwie so. Keine Ahnung, es ist weird. Heute verpeilt? Ja, also. Kennst mich doch! Oh, warte. Der Teil ist sogar falsch geschrieben, was ich hier habe. Ich weiß übrigens nicht, welcher Tag wirklich ist. Ich habe nicht aufgepasst. Hast du das Spiel jetzt nicht richtig angenommen? Hallo? Weil das Spiel hat einfach keine Tags. Hat das Spiel keine Tags? Ich drücke einfach noch ein zweites Mal zur Sicherheit. Das ist jetzt aktualisiert. Sonst drücke ich noch 5 Mal. Keine Ahnung. Weird. Ja. Okay, dann ist es wenigstens jetzt aktualisiert. Gut. Da. Ja. Aha. So. So wie hier Spiel. Kann ich einfach Autoplay anmachen und einfach nur lesen? And that's this concerting courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country. And in Suzuki-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. Tonight we are victorious. Und so weiter. However. Ich weiß, Autoplay ist Minus. Aber Autoplay ist ja, wenn man keine Lust hat, die Rätsel zu machen. Perfekt für Nase. Nase könnte einfach hier Dinge anmachen. So, ja, easy Autoplay. Ja, ist ja gut. Weil Rätsel. There then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Oh, hat sie nicht gesagt. Ja. Ja, doch. Ich habe das Gefühl, bei meiner Eingangsverstärkung ist gerade viel zu laut vom Mikrofon. Kann das sein? Ich weiß es nicht. Alles ist weird momentan. Ich habe vielleicht irgendwas getan und jetzt ist alles komisch. Which was hardly surprising, of course. Since I was nothing more than an amateur. An unknowing student of law from a faraway land. Tag euch stimmt. Okay, gut. Ich war mir nicht sicher. Ich bin mir nie sicher. Ich bin mir so, welcher Tag ist es? Keine Ahnung. Irgendwas. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until one day, in jeder Nacht. Ich meine, was? Until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Also heute ist Donnerstag. Oh. Not again. Wir wissen doch ja, dass wir das hier alle eine Gehirnzelle teilen. Please. 15. April, 9:13 Uhr morgens. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Ah! Frames. Penny! Ich meine, was? Okay. Oh, Alter, haben die das vollgestellt? Was ist hier los? Ist das sein Tisch? Rionosuke, what the fuck? Räum den Tisch. Okay, mein Tisch sieht nicht anders aus, to be honest. Oh, das ist morgen eine Prüfung. Ui. Was für eine Prüfung, wenn ich fragen darf? That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. Telegram für Sie! But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Ja, das ist schon wieder, dass der Tee da draufsteht. Wollte es sagen, ich weiß, dass mein Tisch nicht besser ist, okay? I'm trying, aber es funktioniert nie. Ich räume den Tisch auf. Räume den Tisch auf und dann ist es wie wieder nicht da. Hä? Wie macht man so eine Prüfung mündlich? Legit, Dark. Wie macht man Bildbearbeitung in mündlich? Hä? Sagst du dann einfach die Tools auf, die du brauchst, oder wie? Das ist weird. Susato-san? Ah, Verarbeitung, ja. Ja, ich kann lesen. Trotzdem, wie macht man sowas? Keine Ahnung. Gut, ich stelle mir so Sachen einfach komisch. Mündliche Prüfungen sind komisch. Vor allem mündliche Prüfungen sind in Sachen, die man eigentlich auf Computer macht oder Papier oder irgendwas. Der Morgen musst du deinen Salat im Backofen schieben. Ich meine, Lego im Backofen. Ich meine, Lego im Backofen, Salat in die Waschmaschine. Oder so. Yes! Oh, was hat die denn? Kitty! Okay. Dann viel Spaß, die Viertelstunde im Lurk. Danke für 4 Monate. Yay! Lego im Backofen. Is it time to leave for court already? Wir gehen in den Court? Okay. Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. Geht's dir gut? Du würdest es Nase zutrauen, dass er auf einmal Lego im Backofen hat. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. Frühstück. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suit? Zum Trocknen. Zum Trocknen im Backofen. Ja, sie. Ah, nee. Und dann hast du eine Suppe. Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Ich dachte, wir haben kein... Okay. Was ist mit ihr? Was ist los? Let me see. What case is it today? Das hast du vor 2 Sekunden gefragt. Hä? Here we go again. Bist du vergesslich oder so? Kann ich einfach gehen? Hallo, ich möchte gerne frühstücken. Easy. Bist auch mal ein Lurk essen? Dann guten El Seppo. 15. April. Sholmes Suite. Sweet. Ja, sieht sehr hübsch aus hier. Morning, Bruno. Morning, Susie. So gut, Bruno. Alter. Ah! Das klingt ja, wenn ich Violine spiele. Oh no. Stop, Sholmes. Stop. Oh Gott. Ich kann nicht. Hallo, Sini. Alter, die Musik. Ich kann nicht. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Bruno? Bruno. What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Oh no, bitte nicht die Katze. Ah, yes. You noticed that, did you? Stop! Hör auf zu spielen, bitte. Ah, es ist so schlimm. Lass uns so schön reinhören. Wie sage ich immer, es hat mega guten Soundtrack, das Spiel, ne? Meine Ohren finden nicht. Oh nein. Harley isn't in the best form this morning, it seems. Hör schon aus dieser Musik. Ah ja. Der Herr Schloss. Oh. Ja, es ist so ein bisschen deprimiert. What the fuck? Hello. Er ist deprimiert. Warum bist du deprimiert? Was ist los? Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. Der Depri-Look. Alter. What the fuck? Spiel. A good morning to die, perhaps. Wow, doch so fröhlich. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Oh, Alter, was ist passiert? Willst du darüber reden, Sholmes? Magst du mir erklären, was los ist? Damn this blanched existence. Oh. Okay. That's all it is. My dear fellow, nothing of consequence. Okay. Was? Was ist hier los? I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Was ist passiert? Some dry toast and insipid? Was ist das für ein Wort? Ich kenne mich wieder aus. Wort Coffee. Irgendwie komisch Coffee. Keine Ahnung. Vater-Kaffee, probably? And it's big coffee for me. If it's not too much trouble. Katze! Wo? Katze, wo? Ja! Oh mein Gott! Ah! Oh mein Gott! Ist die süß. Guck mal, es ist Kitty! Wackerei! Wackerei! Oh, look, it's Wackerei! Guck mal, es ist Kitty! Es sieht so aus wie dein Minecraft-Charakter, okay? Good morning, boy. Okay, es ist ein Boy. Oh. Oh, ein Kätzchen. Der wird bestimmt ein großer Teil des Falles sein, ja. There must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. Das ist eine Katzenklappe. Jonas, please. But how did it get there? Iris hat sie gebaut? Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Ja, genau, die Katze ist unser Kronzeuge. Oh no. Mach mal Cross-Examination mit der Katze. Ach. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. So fröhlich heute. Meine Güte. I knew something looked different. Dein Tisch ist leer. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. Was denn? Wo waren Sie letzte Nacht von 2 bis 3 Uhr? Ah. Ja. Möchtest du darüber reden? Wanting. Ich spreche auch immer Leute darauf an. Ey! Warum bist du so gloomy? You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its melodious tones would make flowers bloom. It would? But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Okay. Er ist ja Holmes, Bayern. In der japanischen Version heißt er ja Sherlock Holmes. Das ist nur aus irgendeinem Grund für die englische Version dachte so, ja, lass mal ändern. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I have bowed, for days even. Through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. Okay. Also sein Problem ist gerade, dass er nicht Violine spielen kann. Oh. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recticles of unbridled emotion. Okay. Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Harley? Ja, siehst du. Practice. Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Naruhodo. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next day unmercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Why is this happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left? For pity's sake, what is left? Ja, keine Ahnung. Oh, ich finde immer noch sein Outfit mega cool. Also so ein gut designter Charakter. What the fuck? Deduction perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Okay, also sag mal, was ist da denn verloren gegangen? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Well done, Mr. Sato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh no, Mr. Sholmes. They pale into insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Hurley's great... Was? Warte. Analytiscope. Das ist ein Analyse-Teleskop oder was? Analytiscope? That's at Windy Banks now. Oh. Hat er Schulden gemacht? Sorry. It's at a Windy Bank? No! Windy Banks! The pawnbrokery. Pawn? What? You mean you've pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Oh. Dear madam, things are far more desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but this desperate? Making use of a pawnbroker is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? It doesn't sound ordinary at all. Alter, Jonosuke muss jetzt nicht noch nachhauen. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh. What's to understand exactly? Ah! Ei. So, dann erklär mal. What did you mean when you said we didn't fully understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokers are akin to banks. Ja. Banks? Weiß ich, eine Bank. On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see. Especially people in inner London. Ja, ist mutig teuer. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how indigenous. Das war damals schon teuer. Das ist immer noch teuer. So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at the windy banks, you see? Oh, seine Maschine. Da war weg. A pawnbrokery can be thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Alter! Okay, Kann ich irgendwas? Nee. Ja, was mache ich denn jetzt? Ich kann nur mit Iris reden. Oh, boah, hier hat so viel Stuff. Scheiße. Okay, also wir haben... so Mut. Also wir haben hier Stuff. Keine Ahnung, wir gucken einfach mal alles durch, glaube ich. Ich glaube, das Beste. Look at Mr. Schaum's desk. It's completely clear. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it? Okay, das sagt nur wieder das. When next time we're invited, we may find he's vacated the entire suite. That's scarily possible, actually. Okay, gut. Oder reden nur wieder über das. Kann ich da oben gucken? I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of place. Good. Ah, yes, the letters V and R inscribed on the wall in bullet holes. Isn't it the initials of the Queen or something? It's so delightful to see it in the flesh. Having read about it in the short stories, it was so inspiring. Inspiring, in die Wand zu schießen. Gut. I fired 100 arrows into my own wall at home to make the character for Susato, you know. But perhaps there are some things the great detective does that you don't need to copy. Ja gut, dann I guess. Okay, da ist sonst nix. Vermutlich muss ich mit Iris reden, ne? Kann ich die Katze irgendwo sehen? Nee. Ich finde es übrigens sehr schön, wie das ist ihre Ecke, ganz klar. Guck mal, das ist ihre Ecke. V gleich in Dinge. Was schreibt sie dann hin? Sachen. Hallo Iris. Ich möchte mal mit dir reden. Über die Katze? Ja. Wagahi. Mr. Natsume's cat seems to have settled in on this new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. Waggy. Ja, ich nenne meine Katze auch ein Waggy. Waggy! It would appear that his previous owner is completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their meows are... The mere muse as empty as the heart of the muses. Okay. Ah, guck mal, wie cute. If Mr. Natsume had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Ja. Da Peak der Presse getrunken. Well, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Das stimmt. Oh. Kannst du nicht mit dem Ohr wackeln, das ist fucking adorable. Stop. Yes, he really is. Oh, yes. What about the door? Eine Katzentüre. I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed? You're observant, Bruno. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. Oh god. What is that? Automatisch Katzentürenrichter, what? I call it the cat flappomat. The cat flappomat. Okay. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? Kann ich eine haben? Ich will auch so eine. That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And I can do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Okay. Metalltüre. Okay. Wouldn't it have been quicker to just to make the cat flap rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe. But now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Good. Okay. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. So, ich habe... Katze! Oh, what was that? Wackerhai? Katze, was tut die Katze? Katze, was tust du? Katze? What was that? Oh no! Wackerhai is tangled up in your violin! Bitte was? Wie? I think he thinks it's a toy. No! What's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Shump's precious violin. Kann ich ein Bild sehen, wie die Katze da drin steckt? Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. Alter! If the cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Okay. Mr. Shumps really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Harley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Wo ist sie denn? Kann ich die angucken? Wo ist die Violine? Ah, da ist die Violine. Ah, ich habe sie gesehen. Die sieht schon ziemlich alt aus. So, this is the violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius. One of the finest violins in the world. Made by the renowned Italian luthier Antonio Stradivari. Oh, I see. It doesn't really look like anything special to me. Oh, da bist du sehr falsch, Renosuke, da bist du sehr falsch. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for merely 55 shillings. You fool! Yes. How honorable of you. And until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I've made. Ah, Paganini. Ich verstehe Worte. Ich habe gerade keine Idee, wie Paganini klingt. Aber Paganini. I ask you, is there reason to live in a world devoid of music? Gute Frage. To tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none. Okay. Such dir ein anderes Instrument, maybe. Mr. Sholmes? What do you mean? What? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? Hey? Hm? What do you mean, Mr. Sato? Hat jemand die Violine geklaut? Oh, Susie's right! Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack there before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? Er hat eigentlich auf eine Viola gespielt. What's this? Please. So heißt eine Viola. I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Es ist wirklich eine Viola, no. Warum weißt du das? What the fuck, Sholmes? Wie kann er das nicht wissen? Okay. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called the viola. Viola! Woo! Dann erklärt's, warum er nicht spielen kann. No way, nicht das wahre Holmes, ja klar. Also der Unterschied, Problem ist, Viola hat anders getunte Saiten als eine Violine. Also es ist nicht einfach eine Oktave runter, die Töne, sondern es sind komplett andere Töne. Das heißt, du bist alles off dann. Aber ich hätte jetzt erwartet, dass Sholmes das trotzdem spielen kann, aber you know. Ist doch nicht so gut, hä? Hm? What? Ja, und das hat er nicht bemerkt. Er hat nicht mal bemerkt, dass er nicht sein eigenes Instrument gespielt hat. Like, how? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what? Pray, is this piece of stringed flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then? I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Ah, hat er die Violine ins Ding gegeben? It sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Okay, dann fragen wir mal. Iris, tell me. Über den Mix-up, ja? Was meinst du damit? What do you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this viola, I mean. Was at Windy Banks until last week. At the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner? Oh, da ist er wieder happy. There's a proverb from the East, with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Oh, da ist er nochmal. Always let the beloved child travel. Okay, ja. Ja, ich meine, ja. Okay. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it will experience personal growth. Klar. Oh, what a wonderful idea. I see. Last week I pawned my great analytiscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with this tawny fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timber of this piece of timber. No, but your very sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Oh no! Ooh, low blow. Psha! A fine state of affairs this is. And why I always say, Mr. Naruhodo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time. Good. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. Ja, solange es da ist, vermutlich. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Dilly-dallying will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect. Pressing your coffee so obtusely. Was sind das für Worte? Red doch wie eine normale Person. Schlimm. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? Was? We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. That's right, isn't it, Mr. Sholmes? Schlimm. Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. Das ist natürlich viel wichtiger. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect? To press your egg even more obtusely? Alright. I say no more. Let's go then. Ario, tut mir leid. Skip, please. Oh. Don't worry, Juno. I'd be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I'm rather conscious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Ja, let's go. Move! Oh. Ich kann Baker Street angucken. Leute, ich muss erstmal Baker Street angucken gehen. Warte. Also direkt nebendran, what the fuck? Es ist ja direkt daneben. Hallo, Fongs. Na, was geht? Ja, nice. Da sind wir und wir haben sogar Fenster. Ist mega amazing. Closed Store for Rent. Da ist der Pawnbroker. Dann gehen wir mal fragen. Hab ich gehört. Easy, move in. Windybanks Pawnbrokery. Wo ist die Stradivari? Rück sie raus. 15. April, Windybanks Pawnbrokery. Hallo? Du bist bestimmt tot. So, this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes before. Also, Sato-san. And that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to score the shells, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things, I don't understand, is a real thrill for me. Oh, da hat er sich wieder an. Wieder nicht wieder seine Jacke ausziehen, ich finde sein Hemd viel cooler. BBL Seppu. Ich hoffe, es hat geschmeckt. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Lecker Döner. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, sir. Welcome back. Did you hear the brazen welcome? Well, yes. We are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruhodo. And it's time to inform Mr. Windybank for our ire. Oh, Taikari. Oh, Neid. Come, the fight is afoot. Fight? Was für ein Fight? Guten Tag. Oh. Deine Heizung. Guck mal, eine pinke Schleife. Na dann. Hallo. Ich möchte gerne über die Violine reden. Hallo. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. Gut, das hat so oder so Holes. Ah, okay. It's not even the same size. Und das ist ihm nicht aufgefallen. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. I want the unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There was only one way to make amends. Rennt weg. Was? Junge! Was zur Hölle? Stop! Dude! I shall have to take my own life. What the fuck? I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. What the hell? Das ging schnell, ja. Ah, yes. It was you, Sir Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry? Hey? As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did? And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir. If that escalated quickly. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May the guilt die with me. What the fuck? What is going on? No. Stop it, dear fellow. The fault was mine. Okay. Gut. Haben wir das geklärt? Geil. Push die Violine, bitte. Gut. Phew. It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybank. Evidently, my questionable disposition Sholmes benutzt so viele komplizierte Worte. Es ist so schlimm. Precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Sherlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. Good. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needed to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh? Peculiar items? In the extreme, ma'am. For example, the unpublished manuscript of an enormous work. An eponymous work. The novels of Sherlock Holmes, or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I have yet to read, you mean? Forgive me! Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. Kann bitte irgendwer dem Typen die Pistole wegnehmen? Der macht mir Angst. Hei. I must know more. Tell me everything. Wow. Sato-san is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? They are priorities. Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windybank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. Also stellt eigentlich seine ganzen Müll einfach zu dem Typen hin und denkt sich so, ja, der nimmt das schon, ist gut. And that was that. As such, Mr. Shum's latest tale of otherworldly mysteries lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Shums, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Oh, of course, sir. Of course! They're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life! This is all very, very strange. Ja, finde ich auch. So, reden wir über deinen Laden. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the East, I see. Yes, that's that table suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Nein, das ist... Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! But for you, splendid attire, ma'am. 5 guineas, no less. Und das Liver. Ist ja auch gut. Aus seiner Leber! Ich mach das auch immer, seine Leber. Aber das macht doch ein Alkoholiker nicht. Würde das sagen? Gut, okay. Lass mal das. No, Seppo. Oh no. The colors are exquisite. The design exotic. Eastern and artistry at its finest, may I say. Solltest du das schreiben lassen? No. Oh my. 5 Guineas, you say? 5 Guinea-Pigs. Geil. How interesting. Aber dann hast du keine Kleidung mehr. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Holmes is messy. Holmes is messy. Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it's said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them an appropriate loan and 2 months of secure storage. Oh, no! Oh, nach mir Fehler suchen und dann einfach so, ja gut, das eine Teil war kaputt. Ach nee. Ey. Oh. Das ist blöd. If, in that time, they repay the original sum to me, plus the agreed interest, the items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So, you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am. That's it, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibilities rest on my shoulders. Should a customer precious belongings be lost, the only recommends for it is for me to end it all. Please don't. The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Says the man who was telling us all it was good day to die only this morning. Ja. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device, which Mr. Windybank has installed here in his shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder. Was? Is that not so, Mr. Windybank? What was that deep sigh about? Ja, erzähl mal. Seid nicht so happy zu sein. What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are two just below the ceiling. Er klingt begeistert. Ja, mega. Wo? Ah. Eine Überwachungskamera! Gut. Da wollte ich nicht draufklicken. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of a timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera, furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Oh, wow, alle 30 Minuten! Oh, für krass! Okay. Ist gut. Here, I have an example I can show you. Ein Bild. Da ist ein Bild von einem Hund. 4 a.m. Ah yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Also aus der Nacht, okay. Really? That's extraordinary. Das ist der Hund vom Best-Kapitel. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. Ja, aber wir werden die noch brauchen, die Bilder. Ich habe das Gefühl, meine Kamera ist ein bisschen weit oben, hey? Muss ich mir groß machen. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30 minutes intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then, what if the incident were to occur between times? Muss ich größer machen? Ja, ich bin so klein. One could only say that could be a cruel twist of fate. Aha. I must confess, your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon. Mr. Windybank, surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. Ich habe das Gefühl, das zieht sich extrem lange hier. Oh Gott. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I am very much older. Oh. Gut. Das ist ein anderes Problem. Nicht wahr? Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age very safely, and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. So, wo ist jetzt die scheiß Violine? Ah, da ist die Violine. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really don't think you are out to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry? I've only loaded 1 single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. Er wird doch das Opfer, oder? Ach nee. Er wird doch das Opfer. Müssen wir Sholmes verteidigen? Ich habe so das Gefühl. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windybank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes wird doch der Hauptverdächtige. So, Mr. Naruhodo. Now we can explore at last. Yay? Was will ich denn angucken? Alles? Das Pinocchio! Was ist das? Look at this. Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. There's a small catch just here, look. Wo? We're going to open it, aren't we? Und was genau ist das? Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism. Für was ist das? Which will never manage to put back which will never manage to put back the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing? No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Okay. Da hat's ein paar Sukkulenten. Das Datum. Eine Trompete. Allah, sci-fi stuff. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th April, today's date. Ja, das ist ein Kalender, krass. Yes, and that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. Das ist bestimmt auch wichtig, ja, alles. Alles wird wichtig. The perfect calendar for a tearaway follows such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. And who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before? Zum Glück sagt er das nicht. Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without payment, articles are forfeited, you see. Alles mitschreiben. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Okay. Oh, yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. Okay. Da kann man auch durchgucken. Kann man da reingucken? Aber ich bin doch fertig mit Tests. Tja. Ist mir noch ein Test geschrieben. Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you are looking at is a stereoscope. Okay. A stereoscope. Fascinating! Finde ich auch. Ja, sage ich auch immer so. Ja, ist fascinating. Ich muss wirklich meine Kamera ein bisschen runter. Come on. Ist auf völlig zur Seite. Ups. Okay, mache ich später. Das stört mich gerade. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Okay. Oh, I should be enlightened too. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Nice. Müssen wir was trinken. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. Okay, yeah. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Ich will auch. Mr. Naruhodo, you must see! At once! Alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed, like I'm trying to look at my own nose. Kann ich. Ah, und das ist 3D aus. I see. What the... Geht nicht, okay. Ich kann das so nicht machen. I don't believe it. Ich schätze mal, dass wenn du die richtige Distanz zum Bildschirm hast, könntest du es genauso gut machen. Aber für mich ist es gerade zu weit weg. Ich glaube, es wird für dich gut gehen, wenn du das auf der Switch hast, könntest du gut die Distanz richtig machen. Für mich ist die Distanz gerade zu hoch. Naja, das geht nicht. Das ist zu weit weg. Weiß nicht, ihr könnt es mal ausprobieren, ob ihr es hinkriegt. Ich schätze mal, es würde gehen. Aber ich weiß, es ist nicht so einfach. Aber basically 3D-Bild. Cool. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. I did it! Für mich stimmt die Distanz halt nicht. Leider. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? Weil Black Magic cool ist. It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well... Ja, erklär mal. Ja, erklär mal. Los, erklär mir mal, wie das geht, Mr. Scholms. Mr. Scholms, ich habe noch nicht ganz verstanden. Können Sie das nochmal wiederholen, Mr. Scholms? Far too complicated to explain at present. Oh, we shall save this lesson for another day. Klar, sag ich auch immer. Oh. Mann. So, was haben wir denn noch so zum Angucken? Wir können die Shelves angucken. What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are for-sale items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, you're colloquially Worte. An item. The broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale, at a price of his choosing. Oh, yes. Now you've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags and everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. Okay. So, was haben wir denn noch? Da ist noch mal irgendwas. Look at this! What could this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country. Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Ja, bitte, hören wir Musik. Gute Nacht. Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. I've never heard anything like it before in my life. Very good. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses or restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by placing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. Nice. My goodness, what a simple, delightful machine! Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. Das sagen wir heutzutage. Ah! Was? What? Wer ist denn das schon wieder? Only 2 pence for it. That ain't fair. You know it. The article is barely worth a penny. Okay, das war eine Frau. Gut, weiß ich. Ich finde es schön, wenn ich weiß, wer redet. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot offer more. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you... Oh no, ich weiß, glaube ich, wer es ist. Ich glaube, ich weiß. Ist es die Dame, die wir schon mal hatten? Mit die ich aus irgendeinem Grund mit einem französischen Akzent geredet habe. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even had a proper butcher's edit? Oder so, habe ich die geredet. Wenn es die ist, keine Ahnung. I've seen all I need to see, young girl. Ja, es ist sie. Ah, nein! Ich will doch nicht scheiße. Das ist wieder den Kack-Akzent machen. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh, yes, it's the young lady from McGilded's trial 2 months ago. Ja, genau, China Lestrade. Pickpocket! Ah, genau, und sie hätte die Pistole von Ding geklaut. Von, Scholms. Von Iris. Hey, China! Gordon Bennett, you lot! Oh, nee. Oh, der hat die ganz schon wieder. Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. What? You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. Ah, nee, Niesch macht einen schlechten französischen Akzent. Yay! So, what are you doing in there? Keine Ahnung, was die für einen Akzent hat eigentlich. Down and out, like the rest of us. Nothing to eat. Come to pop that black visa, sorry, coat. Evia. What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day. Unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah! Mr. Sholmes. So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article, and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windybank on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Eigentlich müsste so einen Straßenakzent haben, aber ich weiß nicht, wie man das macht. Wie klingt so ein Straßenakzent? Ich habe keine Ahnung. Ich kenne mich nicht aus. Get out of my business. Go on, or I'll make trouble for ya. Ich habe keine Ahnung, wie Straßenakzent klingt. Es liest sich halt mehr wie Französisch mit den ganzen Hs, die fehlen und so. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. Whoosh. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? Oder ist bestimmt geheime Nachricht drauf. And you? Go on, leave me alone! Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Nice. Susanne can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Ja, lass mal reden. So. Ich habe immer noch keine Ahnung, was der Fall ist. Wir sind seit über einer Stunde dabei und wir haben noch keine Ahnung, was wir tun müssen. Ehrlich. Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Mr. Strahd. Yeah, well I am, alright. I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That's a problem, is it? Wie macht man Straßenakzent? Ich muss so Akzente googeln. Scheiße. No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. Da, Coffee. Coffee. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it on the drive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your chivy shars. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. Hey, it's Sue. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Naruhodo? Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? Nice. But not this time, alright? I swear. That things belong to me. The disc that Mr. Windybanks is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Okay, fragen ihn mal. Es sieht aus, als ob man es da reinlegen könnte. Miss Lestrade's disc. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. In a music box? Ja, das, was wir gerade vorher angeguckt haben. Vionoske, wie doof bist du? What? You don't even know what a music box is? Eastern lots ain't so savvy, eh? I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. Ah, Swiss! Kyle. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he said it was, well... Yeah. He? Who? Never you mind. It's just ain't right. That's all. That disc is worth good money. I know it is. He? Wer gildet? Fragezeichen? I don't know. Hat bestimmt seine Identität gefälscht. Lebt eigentlich noch. Well then, you have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Ah! She's been in here before, of course. This little tatterdemalion. I see. And I've had some dubious articles or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, If only it were that simple. Sorry? What do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So... Miss Lestrade has actually come to redeem an article from you today? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windybank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. Die Pistole. The overcoat. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. Deswegen hat sie ihr Ärmel hochgekrampelt. Aha. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn, if the girl and I can agree a price. So komm, ich will jetzt meinen Fall haben. Was wird passieren? I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owned on it, as you say. For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I understood it. That's right, yes. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went riffling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ey, ich guck dahin, wo ich will. Was? Ich meine, hä? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. Ist die denn klein? Ist das nicht so groß oder so? So groß? As she immediately tried to pawn it. For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man? It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. I love her. Where's das schon wieder? Out of my way, please. Out of my way. Wie rede ich denn den jetzt? Scheiße, Kacke. 13.000 Stimmen und ich bin absolut verwirrt. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Oh no. Oh, yes. Good day to you, ladies. Gentlemen. Ich kann auch den nicht reden. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I've a matter to discuss with the proprietor. Gott. Ich kann auch gar nicht so viele Stimmen machen, ey. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Was? Den Schnösel! Basically. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an imprudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How did you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. Ich kann dir nicht reden, ey. Ich krieg keine doofe Schnöselstimme hin. Egal, okay. What? You mean from you? Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say. What the fuck is this for a pose? Okay. Any music discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's, or it was. Now it's mine. Is this JoJo's? Yes. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Ey, ich verstehe gar nichts. Picture postcard gentleman. Good day, sir. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Shantoto. Ich weiß auch nicht, wie Shantoto klingt. Oh! Bis auf das. Aber Shantoto klingt wie halt ein Zwerg, also wie ein Lalafell, also wie, you know. Was auch immer ihre Rassenbeschreibung ist, I guess. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Genau so. Oh, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Could you stop that? Der macht mich awkward. Wir brauchen nicht 100% pure Schnösel-Essenz. Yes. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another. Oh, of course, yes. I'm Ryonosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Satomi Kotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I see. Und? My name is Benedict. Benedict Cumberbatch! Nicht, warte, was? Yes, Eggert Benedict. Eggert? Eggert Benedict. Das Name. Benediction, was? Ich meine, was? It's edgy. Ex. Enchanté. Oh no. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but the name is suspicious. Now, the matter at hand. Was ist mit dem Typen falsch? Stop it. Stop moving around like that. My overcoat, return it at once. To someone with the style to carry it off. Every movie makes, every breath. Ich musste gerade an Dings denken. an das Stalker-Lied. I can't watching you. Every movie makes, every breath he takes. I can't stand watching him. Kannst du nicht? Okay, dann reden wir nochmal mit China. China? I'll be watching you. Yes. Weil es halt legit gefühlt fast das gleiche ist. Mr. Stroud, is what the gentleman is saying? What do you think? It's our lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before. Dandy! Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now. No, I swear it. I swear to God. I was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again? Oh yes, as you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. Klar. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these back slump scoundrels. Was sind das für Moves? Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Okay. Come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on! Why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cough, and you think I'm the doggy one? I'm sorry, but one's going to believe you. But no one's so. He got the moves like Jagger. I got my moves like Jagger. He got the moves like Jagger. Schön. Well, what about evidence? Yeah? Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? Tja. Show me the evidence. Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman? Of course. We need only consult Mr. Windybank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant! Aber er dachte, very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh? I've never asked customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine. Ah, perfekt, ja, gut. Warum sollte man das auch wissen? Ich meine, wenn ich zu einer Bank gehe, dann will ich auch nicht, dass mein Name da steht auf dem Konto. Das Konto gehört anonym. Genau. But why not? Well, now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain the anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, that's quite simple. Good sir. Might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Ich habe die abgehoben. Ah. Of course, it's Professor. Yes, that's right, and all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without a doubt. A watchword? Interesting. Tja. Das müssen wir uns alles merken dann für den Fall. Das wird bestimmt alles wichtig. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. Scholz, was tust du da? Hiya. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all. Glaubst du? Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir, yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago, on the 15th of February. With a watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. But, ow! Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Gut. Just looks wrong. Das passt doch nicht. So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Egbert Benedict. Eggert Benedict. Eggert. Der Eggert. Das kann nicht die Overcode sein, das sieht 60 darin aus. Das ist meine gute Begründung, ja? With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. Der Eggert. Oh. Ich hab's aus Versehen weitergedrückt, ich wollte eigentlich schnell drücken. Why is this why I ate grown-ups? Just cause I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir, here is the disc for you. Da bestimmt ein Geheimnis drauf. Just this one? Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another disc. Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that was what was deposited with me. It was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Vielleicht kann ich den so reden. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. Oh. What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drowned blood, you filthy animal. Whoa. Oh. Oh my. Yes, there's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belongs to me, old man. So you're not having it. Oh, you take it. Me? If I hang onto it, they've have it off me again. So you kept hold of it. Mrs. Stroud, why is this disc so important to her? Geil. Cool. Hab ich jetzt. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc back to me at once, please. No, don't! He's lying! Grown-ups are all liars! What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Charles, rette mich! Charles, rette mich! Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So... You found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Ich hab dir vorher schon gesehen. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Ja. Cruelly abstract... Oh Goddammit, die Worte von ihm! Schlimm. Aha, ich krieg Krise. Ostracized, so. Oder so, keine Ahnung. Herr Schloss, as the rest of you partook in the joyful atmosphere of a fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. Was ist los mit ihm? So for a mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in the desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, there's a 7% solution of caramel. Caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Was ist falsch mit dir? Hiya. Then, why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. Rede doch wie eine normale Person. You really were sad, weren't you? Very. Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again. Oh, dürfen wir ein Ding machen? My dear madam, sometimes I wonder where my genius for deduction to be commoditized. How much could I pawn for it? Also, sorry, geht dafür. It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. Mr. Sholmes like, yes. Sehr, Sir, yes. But who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Mr. Stroud and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Listen to the deduction, I guess? Ich schätze mal, also... Ich weiß nicht, was ich sonst tun sollte, als zu hören. Machen wir? Machen wir. Weiß nicht, ob ich muss oder nicht. Keine Ahnung. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Tch, where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true chance was supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict, you have, in my eyes, a virtually... Oh, God damn it! Hör darauf mit diesen schwierigen Worten! Encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Musik ist super. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. Mhm. Ja, 5 Minuten keiner so gesagt, ich bin so alleine. Schau das, please. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? Schlimm sowas. He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg? Good, okay, Junosuke. It would seem that once again Mr. Shams has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Hehe, egg jokes. Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. Okay. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Holmes logic and reasoning spectacular. Mr. Frühstück ist nicht unschuldig. Bestimmt nicht. The game is afoot! Mystery Man's aim! Was ist deine Conclusion? First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed the pickpocket here, having had the redemption tickets stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. Oh, guck mal, da hat ein Dings in der Hand. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. Ich glaube, der Stock. The piece of paper in your hands is a staff wanted advertisement for this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need for such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwillingly clutch to your person, exhibit an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. AG. Das sind nicht seine Initialen. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. Nein, die Initialen sind AC da drauf. Du hast in den Finger gebissen. Tarest, please, stop. Holy shit. Oh, das habe ich nicht gelesen. Moment. Ah, ich habe nicht gelesen. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. Ist es ein Ding? Könnte auch ein Schläger sein. Angry Egg AG. Nee. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Das Blackbait, das ist Tupsimati! Ich meine, was? Ja, es ist Tupsimati. Es ist ein Mage-Stock. Ja, genau. Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. That walking cane demands such a stout handle, muse I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod. Is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? Danke, Microsoft. What the fuck? Rude. And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here. Hello, Windows. Hello, Windows. Was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. Was redest du da? What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. Most logic... Yeah. Crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you suppose I could expect to find there? Whee! Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? What? Ich kann keine verschiedenen Stimmen gerade mehr machen. Es ist alles gleich, mir egal. Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and convey Dick beneath its floor. Wir den nicht hier zur Pistole geguckt haben. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter, to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Ja, er hat so eine hohe Trefferquote und verfehlt trotzdem immer. Es ist herrlich, es ist mega gut. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in a local area. Okay, danke Kitty. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works. Beneath the shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the Great Vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Was? Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway. And the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank. On the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sit in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so kept it under your head, please. Warum sagst du das denn einfach so? Scholms. Nicht Paris, nein. Crystal Tower war nie in Paris. Was redest du? Eieiei. This concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Das können wir fixen. Mr. Sholmes. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. An impressively upbeat deduction for the detective wrecked with loneliness. Would you not agree? Was it true that what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. Das weil Eiffelturm wurde auch mal für eine Weltausstellung gebaut. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly in fact. Ah. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. Das ist keine logische Erklärung. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secrets. Oh! Or if he doesn't, Maybe Mr. Windybank will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. All my life, I assure you, I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. Und du hast es gerade Lestrade gesagt, basically. Das wird doch scheiße. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them. And once the world is out, it's out. Yeah. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruto. An excellent idea. Gut. Immerhin sieht das gleich. Well then, Mr. Naruto, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again and see if we can message into shape. So. Very well then. Let us start once more from the beginning. Of Sherlock Holmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Let's go. Gibt's davon eigentlich einen zweiten Teil? Course Correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Ich mag das, finde ich super. Okay. The Redemption Tickle Store, the Street. Von den Chronicles gibt es einen zweiten Teil, aber der ist noch nicht auf Dings bei uns rausgekommen, ne? Wir sind in Amerika rausgekommen. Müssen wir wieder warten. Warum geben wir uns diese Spiele nicht? Ah! Ich hasse das. Ich meine, ja, es interessiert sich ja keiner für Europe, ne? Europe ist scheiße. So fühlt sich das manchmal an, wegen, Japan macht für Japan mega geile Sachen und für Amerika bringen wir es auch raus und Europa ist so, we exist as well! Ich meine, mittlerweile kannst du wenigstens davon ausgehen, die meisten Leute werden Englisch sprechen können, das heißt, du kannst einfach eine englische Edition machen. Sind das 2 in Chronicles? Weiß nicht, bisher, ich habe nur 5 Fälle gesehen. Ich weiß nicht, ob der andere Teil auch drin ist. So, it is as revealed that which you hold in your hand. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. 1 und 2 sind hier zusammengefasst, okay. Aber wir sind jetzt beim letzten Fall vom ersten Teil, Fragezeichen. Glaube ich. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where? What did it bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Eigentlich. A stylish head. What? What? Tja. Guck mal. Das soll, glaube ich, China darstellen, ne? Oh! Look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. Ja, so, hold it! Und einfach so, es muss jetzt genauso stehen bleiben, ich muss mal eben kurz rumlaufen und rauf ist einfach rum so. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gene Lestrade, height 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, wrecked. As a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goddess! There's even a sketch of her head and all. Although, if you showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down there here too. Windybank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled in the back of the piece of paper? Okay, dann nehmen wir das. Da. Ah, die Maske ist so cool. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybank's pawnbrokery here. You initially told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. Jonosuke is so cool, ne? It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Windybank's pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. Ganze McGilded, bestimmt. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. Another word. Das hatten wir. Ulterior motives to your actions. Incontrovertibly contradiction. So, da. Es geht nicht um den Tipp. What's the fair rule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of the cane, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, that bit that makes the nice clacking sound on the pavement. Genau. Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Look here, Mr. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So, Sherlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously... Oh. AG? Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? Ich glaube das. Kann ich sonst irgendwas angucken? Kann seinen Hut angucken. Ich glaube, es ist nur das, ne? Es kann nur das. Also muss es das sein. Hoffe ich mal. Take that! Mann, ich finde einfach so cool, wie das da steht. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet, in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't. You said before that you had that cane for years. Man sieht eigentlich mal sein Schwert hier. So, don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? So, das hatten wir auch schon. Der Rottubär. Okay, nicht den Händler. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. And now a mysterious man has appeared introducing himself with a fake name. And claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description. Which suggests that everything else he told us is untrue. So, what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Ja, F. Ah, da. Ich hab's vorher rippen gehört. Ich war so, irgendwas ist gerissen. Irgendeinen Saum hat's gerissen. Irgendeine Naht hat's gerissen. Ja, warum? Weil es eben nicht passt. Das passiert, wenn ich nämlich der hintere Teil nämlich zu eng ist und du nämlich deine Schulter nach vorne beugst, dann reißt du es auseinander, ne? Ja, der schöne Anzug. The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. Sure. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Der arme Mantel. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed for Mr. Windy Bank. From Mr. Windy Bank. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Ja. To abscond with a redeemed item. Ey. Bevor wir jetzt den zweiten Teil machen, würde ich mal sagen, ich mache eine kurze Pause. Wir machen kurze Pause, weil hier gerade gute Musik ist. So mit guter Musikpause ist gute Pause. Leider mache ich mir mehr zu trinken. Eine kurze Sprechpause haben. Dann würde ich sagen, wir machen gleich weiter. Goodbye. Also das heißt, Taris, hä? Ist die Pausenmusik gut? Ist es gut, wenn ich Pause-Musik mache? Musik mit Pause ist gut, oder? Wie findet ihr eigentlich Pausen mit Musik? Ich finde Pausen mit Musik mega geil. Pausenmusik. Pausen mit Musik. Musik mit Pausen. Das ist auch sehr gut. Musik mit Pausen sind auch sehr gut. Vor allem, weil ich momentan sehr viel Pausen spielen darf. Also eben nicht spielen. Also verstehst du. So. Ich habe mir heiße Milch gemacht. Muss ich jetzt noch Honig reinlernen. Ja, für meine Stimme. Meine zarte Stimme. Hey. Und so. Mega zart. Haben wir gemerkt, dass ich die blöde Aufnahme für Alex gemacht habe. Ah! Ich habe vielleicht das so 20 Mal gemacht, ne, bis ich zufrieden war. Also wenigstens so war wegen, ey, ich habe mich nicht versprochen beim Singen und ich habe nicht komplett keinen Atem mehr gehabt. Ein Honey Chai. Oh, ich muss mir wieder Chai. Ah, das stimmt. Ich muss mir noch Chai-Tee holen. Ich habe keinen Chai mehr. Scheiße. Ich muss mir Chai holen. Ich wollte Chai haben. Habe ich vergessen. Ich muss dran denken. So, gucken, ob ich morgen Zeit habe dafür. Mal kurz einmal loszugehen. So. Ich mach das Spiel gleich wieder an. Bin hier noch am Rumfummeln mit dem Honig. Ja. Rumfummeln. Wenn du meinst, Taris. Als ich für so mega amazing bin im Singen. Ich finde, ich kann mittlerweile okay singen. Ich treffe, wenn ich Sachen übe, ich treffe die Töne, mehr oder weniger. Plus, minus. Muss reichen. Aber wirklich speziell gut singen kann ich jetzt auch nicht. Definitiv nicht. Hätte trotzdem mal voll Bock, so wieder Jam-Session mitmachen. Oh, das war voll cool. Ich war einmal an der Jam-Session, das war so lustig. Ah, schön. Warme Milch mit Honig. Die Jam-Session war sehr lustig. Und dann hatte ich direkt nach der Jam-Session, war ich so, ich will auch Cello spielen! Ich glaube, dass wir so ein Problem haben, aber alle Leute doch sagen, ja, ich finde meine Stimme voll scheiße, weil du halt die einfach nicht gewohnt bist, wie du klingst. Ich meine, ich finde es mittlerweile nicht mehr scheiße. Ich fand es immer scheiße. Mittlerweile finde ich sie, ja, okay, ist seine Stimme, I guess. Aber ich finde es, boah, ich finde geile Stimme. Das sage ich jetzt nicht. Honig. Honig, 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 Honig. Honey. Werden wir mal eben kurz zu Huber. Honey. So. Es ist übrigens sehr lustig, wie ich das Spiel spiele. Ich hab legit den Controller einfach vor mir liegen und drücke die Knöpfe so. Ich muss eigentlich nicht viel tun. Bisschen A drücken und so. Ist mega lustig. Ich kann die ganze Zeit so setzen. So, ja, cool, ja, So, den Teil hatten wir auch schon mal. Ich lese alles, ich habe gesagt, ich lese Sachen nur einmal vor. Elaborate Crime. Nice. Also zumindestens haben doch Leute öfter mal gesagt, sie finden mich, also meine Stimme sympathisch. Das ist ja auch schon was, ne? Das ist auch schon, wenn sie sagen, ja, deine Stimme klingst nett. Das ist ja auch schon mal gut. Voll nett! So, um eine Person zu zitieren. Nur, dass man dich bei mir im Stream nicht gehört hat, weil keine Ahnung, warum, ich verstehe nicht. Ich weiß nicht, warum das so war. War weird, war komisch. Da hatte ich, glaube ich, noch kein Wave, oder? Nee. Ich glaube, da hatte ich kein Wave. Das Wave habe ich erst nachher geholt, oder? Ne, dann ist es... Oder hatte ich das Wave schon? Ich wusste nur nicht, wie einstellen. Kann auch sein. I don't know. Egal. Whatever. Ancient Insider-Memes. Yes. Wie alt sind die Memes? 6 Jahre? Wups. Gut. So, das hatten wir schon. So, wir wollen ja weiterspielen. Weiterlesen, weiterreden, weiter... I don't know. Ah, nee, das ist was anderes. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed wees to filch some tawdry article of pawnage. Voice Meet habe ich immer noch nicht. Ich benutze da Wavelink. Kann sein. Ich weiß es nicht. Auf jeden Fall war es scheiße schwer einzustellen, dass du nicht zu leise warst. Weil für mich ist es schon zu laut, so fuck. Keine Ahnung. Audio ist schwierig. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place? Ja, keinen separaten. Ich glaube eben. Ich bin mir nicht sicher. Habe ich, glaube ich, nachher das Wave geholt. How could I possibly have known the relevant details, n'est-ce pas? Warum sprichst du Französisch? How could I possibly have known the relevant details, n'est-ce pas? N'est pas? Ja, n'est-ce pas? N'est-ce pas? Ist es nicht so? Nein, Bayern, kann nicht. Ignorier es, denk an anderes. Pinch dir den Arm, keine Ahnung, weißt du nicht. Das hilft nicht. Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you're only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Okay, wo kann ich das sehen? Im Buch? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice beim Buch, schätze ich mal. So. The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Please. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whenever it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Ja eben, 6 Jahre, sag ich ja, 6 Jahre her. Voll nett! So, was haben wir denn da? Oh. Okay, lassen wir das. Not Toilette. Kann ich das angucken? Ah, ich kann es lesen. Look at this, Mr. Sato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Windybank has scribbled to himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Windybank must make a note of the watchword his customers give him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Also das Notlet. 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 Ich habe Notlet gesagt. Notlet. Ihr habt nichts gehört. Upsi. Okay. Notlet. Not. Ah. No. Das ist nicht das Notlet. Nein. Bayern, please. Hallo, Namen lesen kann ich. Kaxips. Kaxips? Wie sagt man das? Tell me. How to pronounce names. Kann ich nicht. Habe ich nie gelernt. So, da, lesen. Ich habe nichts gesagt vorher. Notelet. So. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. Cory, hallo. Na? Hallo, Cory. Hallo, Tracy. Sei schon fertig mit Spielen. Ist doch erst 10. Was habt ihr jetzt eigentlich gespielt? Du hast ja geschrieben, neues Projekt. Was habt ihr gespielt? I am the raid. Ach so. But this diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? FF3? Oh, so Sachen muss ich auch noch spielen. Für morgen Arbeit vorbereiten. Warum wurde die Raider-Status aberkannt? Hä? Sei Cory, Tracy. Ich habe gesagt, hallo Cory und hallo Tracy, please. It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. Ja gut, stimmt, wenn nur Cory der Raid ist, dann... True, stimmt. Das ergibt natürlich Sinn. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the note list beside the ledger. Tja, habe ich in der Tat. So, um was geht's genau hier? Ich weiß immer noch nicht, was unser Fall sein wird. And that, sir, was the master plan you deceived to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Also ich glaube, er wollte eigentlich die Musikdisken, die da drin sind, wollte. Beziehungsweise die eine? Wir haben nur eine. Okay. For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. Ich kann reden. But naturally, you have very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? So, jetzt kann ich hier hinter den Rücken gucken oder so? Den Teil hatten wir schon mal. Wie kommt er auf das? The article we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box. Ich kann das sagen. Bis zum Lurken. Viel Spaß im Lurk, Cory. Music Box. Alter, warum habe ich so ein Problem, Box zu sagen? Music Box Disc. Music Man! Okay, lass mal das. That was in one of the pockets. Which, according to Mr. Windybank, isn't even worth a penny. Music Bock. Genau das. And yet, this man went to such lengths to steal them. Bayern. Bitteschön. Als alle identifies. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence. We need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Oh, really? I'd better have a look through all the evidence we've collected so far. Das da. Also, die ganz... Guck mal, diese Masse an Beweisen, die wir haben. Also, die eine Musik, also die eine Disc. Masse! Ah, herrlich. Ja, also da, ne? Also, take it. Wir haben nur das. Ich hoffe. Ich hab sonst nix. Ich hab sonst nix. Hab ich irgendwas übersehen? Der Name ist sehr gut, ja. Das im japanischen Original heißt auch Phoenix Wright. Also, ich finde die Übersetzung gut. Phoenix Wright. So, Mr. Wright. Super. Aber im Japanischen heißt er dort auch Naruhodo. Das ist einfach so dieser Ausdruck. Ach so, Naruhodo. Also, das ist herrlich. Die haben alle sehr gute Namen und sehr gute übersetzte Namen, die auch sehr lustig sind meistens. What spectacular contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion. Ja, ich hab sonst nix. Habe ich irgendwas übersehen? Weiß das irgendwer? Ich habe keine Ahnung. Nehmen wir einen Punkt weg, ist okay. Aber was habe ich denn? Ich habe sonst nichts. Was habe ich sonst? Aber für wen? Geh mal die Personen angucken. Wie kann ich so eine Person wechseln? Oh, ich kann... Oh, warte, ich kann dieses hier nochmal reviewen. Hä? Was? Ich bin verwirrt. Was? Oh. Ah, es ist weggegildet. Oh no. Ich hatte so eine Befürchtung. Okay, aber dass ich das angucke. Ich hasse das, wenn Details fehlen. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. And a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. Somebody's name. Ja, Formac gilted. Formac gilted. Oh no. Nicht der schon wieder. It gilted? It couldn't be. But it is Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget, as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? Okay, information has been updated. Dankeschön. Okay. Jetzt! Es steht immer noch das Gleiche da, aber schon. Ich hasse das. Unfaires Spiel manchmal. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. Ach, die Musik ist so gut. Die Musik hat jetzt gerade einen Layer mehr bekommen, ne? Ist mega gut. What's that on the back? It reads for McGilted. Haha! We found out. Der Scheiß-Typ. Aha. Mr. Magnus McGilted. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in a curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. Ich habe das Gefühl, irgendwie ist er nicht tot. Könnte es sein, dass er noch lebt? Wir werden es erfahren. Next time. Nee, warte. Also für den Puti schon erst next time. A prominent man in London, though his lone wandering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. Ja, natürlich. Das ist der Einzige mit dem Namen. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilton was a man of unusual small stature, in fact. He was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Ah. Good. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Eggert. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilton. Okay. Besiegt. Hallo, Herr Frühstück. Genau. Gut. Crime solved. Yay, we did it. Deduction complete. Elementary, Watson. Ich meine, was? Wie heißt sie, Wilson? Iris. Elementary Iris. Well, Mr. Magnus McGilton. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Fast ohne Fehler. Feige durchs Spiel vorbei. Schön wäre es. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mr. Sato. Well, according to what Mr. Windybank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the code would have been redeemed, was it not? Aber er kann es nicht redeemen, weil er ist tot. Also, er ist tot. Ich weiß immer noch nicht, ich bin noch nicht 100% sicher, ob es wirklich so ist. Yes, ma'am. That is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today. Would have been 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 12:30 p.m., I see. Was? Das ergibt jetzt keinen Sinn. What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February is precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not a word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. Oh oh. Ja, Hashtag oh oh, wirklich. Oh oh. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However... Nicht mit der Gun! Junge, er hat die Gun doch geklaut. Ich wusste doch, dass er auf die Gun kommt. Er hat die Gun geklaut. I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Ich mag ja mein Leben. Ich glaube, der Hauptcharakter mag sein Leben auch. Ich gehe mir scheiß über. Er hat nur einen Schuss, aber... You could shoot me at any moment. I hate to give in. But what other choice do I really have here? Oh! Er hatte seine Pistole doch noch. Oh, nein! Wo ist die Kleine mit dem Bazooka? Ja. Mr. Windybank! This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers if that were to happen. I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windybank, no! Alright. Alright, that's enough. Hallo? Yay! Guck mal, das ist unser Boy. Inspector Gregson. Nice. Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. Luigi! Nein, es ist Gregson. Es ist Thomas Gregson. Wie war sein Name, Thomas? Ich glaube, sein Name war Thomas. Thomas! Thomas. Er ist es nicht mehr. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be. You're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life and my very own establishment. Thomas the Tank Engine. Nein. Luigi Gregson, okay. Willst du bitte die Gun wegpacken? Danke. Sehr freundlich. It would seem you have the upper hand. Bye? Oh, guck mal, die Pulli ist cool, so cool. Ah, right. You lot have got something explained to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some pity angry bangry. Natürlich. Ich mag ihn. Pity? Mr. Windybank very nearly met with his end. Yeah, by his own gun, as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole of Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of this case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is this case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter. It's nothing to do with you lot. Der mit seinen Chips. Anyways, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. Wird er ermordet? Ich weiß nicht. But of course, Inspector. What? He's getting away! Oh no. After him, lads! Whistle the beat officer too! Sir! Ja, okay, da rennt er weg. Und so, goodbye! Und hat sich rauspirouettet. Pirouettet. Oder so. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector. I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes? You're talking about me? I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilted's down to the yard. Thank you very much. Okay. So hand it over. Okay. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine. That is mine. I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilted's has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. Okay, thanks, bye! It's all yours, Inspector. Ja, China hat keinen Bock drauf, findet sie doof. China findet doof. And so, we handed McGilted's disc over to Inspector Gregson. And were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Das war erfolgreich, würde ich mal sagen. Oh. Wir haben legit nichts erreicht. Das ist herrlich. Ja, aber... Ja, aber das ist das Scheiße. Ja, aber... Das war jetzt ein kurzer Teil. Der ging jetzt knapp 3 Stunden. Oh. Wir wissen immer noch nicht, was der letzte Fall sein wird. Keine Ahnung. I don't know. Will ja speichern. War ein guter Stream, aber mega kurz. So im Vergleich. Keine Ahnung. Wir haben 0 erreicht. Yeah! Ja, wir haben keine Ahnung, was es im letzten Fall gehen wird. Was für eine Investigation Part 2? Wir haben nichts getan. Wir haben keine Ahnung. Mann. Aber jetzt noch ein Anfang wird zu lange, weil dann wird der bestimmt in 5 Stunden gehen. Was machen wir denn jetzt noch? Es ist 10. Können wir noch irgendwas tun? Hab ich noch irgendwas, was wir tun können? Scholms zeichnen. Ha! Ich will halt ungern wieder einen Teil anfangen. 5 Stunden Stream? Ich meine, die letzten Teile gingen, ja, das letzte Teil ging einiges länger, weil ich noch den Rest mitmachen muss. Ich weiß, dass ich das zwischenspeichern kann, aber eigentlich finde ich eigentlich ist die Länge sehr angenehm, so für einen Stream, gerade von wie viel vorlesen muss. Und jetzt halt noch einen anfangen und den mittendrin speichern, finde ich scheiße, wenn ich dann nachher... Kennst du schon dieses FF14? Ich spiele das die ganze Zeit, natürlich. Ey, ganz ehrlich, ich kann Nase dazu zwingen, dass es doch spielt, weil sie überarbeiten es, dass man bis auf die 8-Mann-Inhalte kann man bald das Space Game alleine spielen. Man kann das als Einzelperson in einem Solo spielen, bis auf eben die paar einige Inhalte, die nicht gehen. Aber grundsätzlich kannst du das Spiel jetzt als Singleplayer spielen. Wenn du wirklich willst. Finde ich cool, weil für Story-mäßig, das ist gut. Das ist ein Solo-Play, los, Spiel! Das ist ein Einzelspielerspiel. Solo-Experience. Da frage ich mich schon, wie sie alles überarbeiten. Sonst höchstens vielleicht noch zeichnen, aber ich weiß nicht was. Bonk-Emote machen. Nase, Spiel. Summon Nase, Spiel. Aber ich will halt nicht. Ah, da, man kann eine Story-Mode machen. Screen Flashes, Subtitles. Was kann man denn eigentlich? Waiting Time. Waiting Time? Ach so, no. Waiting Time brauche ich eh nicht. Da. Wann sollen wir denn all die Spiele, die gerade noch rauskommen, spielen? Ja, gute Frage. So, jetzt gucken wir jetzt mal mit einem schönen Intro-Screen im Shop inne. Ich meine, ich habe genug Spiele, die ich noch spielen muss. Ich bin auch nicht wirklich weit in Arceus. Vollzeit-Streamer werden, ja, das muss ich selbst dann will ich nicht nachkommen. Ich kann noch ein bisschen Legend Arceus spielen, einfach so für die Lulz.